Would you like to learn how the brain creates chains of automatic actions that are almost imperceptible to us and whether willpower plays a role in this? My name is Monica Kuzminskaite. I'm health and nutrition psychologist, and this is my podcast, Spoonful of Reason, where I will focus on the answer to this question. Habits, cravings, and self regulation are interconnected components of a single system. Habits are governed by a stimulus response system operating in the basal ganglia of the brain. Every habit consists of three-part sequence: a stimulus, or the initial signal to act, an action, and a reward. Over time, systematically repeated sequence is no longer controlled by a motivated goal, an activity controlled by the frontal lobe. It becomes an automatic process, which is the domain of basal ganglia, requiring very little conscious effort. Actions performed automatically based on habits simultaneously compete with conscious goal-seeking activity. A well-known, but unfortunately often inaccurately cited study claims that it takes a certain number of days to form habits. Numbers such as 18, 21, or 66 days are often cited. In reality, the study's results indicate that the habit forms within 18 to 254 days, though individual differences are very significant. A meta-analysis conducted in 2024 indicates that reliable habit related to a healthy lifestyle typically forms within 2 to 5 months, and the level of automaticity steadily increases during that period. The strength of a habit may depend on how it was formed. The habit itself also depends on the environment, which usually serves as a stimulus or trigger. When environment changes and the usual cues are no longer present, the habit may weaken because the trigger is no longer activated. Can brain chemistry and consciousness help to curb impulsive behavior even when the mechanism has already become automatic? Great question. Wanting, that is being motivated or striving, and liking, that is experiencing hedonistic pleasure, are two distinct phenomena. A stimulus response sequence formed through repetition, which is controlled by the brain's dopamine system, can be activated. That is, we can want something, even when the outcome no longer brings pleasure. Research findings show that consciously evaluating cravings, asking yourself, is this really it? And practicing mindfulness helps suppress unwanted reactions to stimuli, thereby weakening not only habits, but also the forms of compulsive behavior characteristic of addictions. Studies of GLP-1 agonists, such as semaglutide and similar substances, showed that they also affect the brain, suppressing the reward signal. They may therefore help not only with other forms of compulsive behavior, uh, not only with eating difficulties, but also with other forms of compulsive behavior, such as gambling, shopping, substance use, and etc. What can help restore the control when impulses take over? Our brains store countless automatic responses to certain stimuli. For example, just thinking about the lemon makes our mouths water. Different stimuli trigger different combinations of brain activity. For example, heroin activates the nucleus accumbens more, while cocaine affects the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Studies of people with addictions have shown that these brain regions are significantly more active compared to control group. In contrast, the inferior frontal gyrus, which is responsible for impulse control, is severely suppressed. To manage addictions, it is important to restore a healthy balance between these two systems. Unfortunately, medications that specifically target brain activity have not yet reached a reliable level of practical application. Better results are achieved through just-in-time adaptive interventions, such as apps that send a notification at the moment of highest relapse risk. Research also shows that our own assessments of the strength of our cravings are not reliable way to predict future behavior. It may only seem to us that the craving is very strong, but we may still be able to control our behavior. And conversely, it may seem that the craving is completely under control, yet a reaction to stimulus still occurs. Would you like to know why willpower isn't like a battery that runs out? When discussing habits and how they form, it is important to also talk about willpower. Earlier theories of self regulation claimed that willpower is a finite resource, it runs out, which is why we start behaving differently. The current understanding is that it is much more complex. It is believed that willpower is a dynamic system that integrates attention regulation, emotional evaluation, and the architecture of choice. Willpower depletion would be more accurately described as transient cognitive fatigue or a shift in motivation, rather than simply a depletion of resources. Furthermore, a study conducted last year found that task complexity also significantly affects how quickly we give up. Research also shows that programs that provide alternative rewards are more successful. This means that by consciously stopping a behavior and foregoing a reward from a bad habit, we must simultaneously actively seek out and engage with healthy and meaningful sources of pleasure, such as a harmony of interesting music, the stillness in the morning, the texture of the food we eat, and so on. It is not so much a matter of avoiding former unhealthy pleasures as it is of finding and establishing new, healthy, and meaningful ones. Would you like to turn these behavioral science insights into actionable strategies of your own? First, conduct your own trigger audit. Spend a few days observing and recording your desires and cravings. Note the time, your emotional state, who you're with, and details of your surroundings. By knowing what triggers your urges, you'll be able to control the environment that causes them. Create action intentions. Don't assume that sheer willpower alone will save you. Formulate your intentions using the if then structure. For example, if I feel a strong urge to check my phone during work, I'll immediately stand up and go get a drink of water. It will take the load off your prefrontal cortex and let your body handle the task automatically. Practice urge surfing. Don't fight the urge. Usually, this makes it stronger. View the urge as an ocean wave. Acknowledge that you're feeling it and identify where in your body you feel it most. Observe your state and wait. Strong urges usually build up for 10-15 minutes before peaking and then subside if they aren't acted upon. Rethink your choices. Make sure that there are plenty of obstacles to bad habits and almost none to good ones. For example, if you want to stop snacking late at night, remove snacks from your plane site, or perhaps even from your home altogether. If you want to spend more time studying, leave your textbooks open on the table. Extra effort breaks automatic behavior patterns. That's all I had for this week about habits and willpower and automatic behavior. My name is Monica Kuzminskaite. I am health and nutrition psychologist. I help to resolve simple and complicated issues around behavior, thinking, and emotions. I write, I give lectures, and I provide psychological counseling. You will find the link to register for counseling session in the comment of each post, and you will find my posts on social media, searching either for my name or keywords Spoonful of Reason. Send me a message if you have any comments. And meanwhile, wishing you all peace.